you ready to heal your mind, body, and soul from the inside out? Welcome to the Real Healing Institute show with Michelle Sinclair, divine healer and spiritual teacher, where spiritual transformation meets practical guidance to break free from limiting beliefs, subconscious pain, and energetic blocks. This is a powerful space for those seeking true healing and enlightenment. Michelle's teachings are rooted in her deep study of the Christ letters and the spiritual awakening that came from her unwavering dedication to divine truth. She helps individuals navigate their inner healing journey through subconscious soul healing techniques and spiritual teachings by uplifting the vibrational resonance of our thoughts, words, and actions that shape the very fabric of our lives. It is time to learn the profound understandings of universal love. The Real Healing Institute show starts now. Hello, everyone, and welcome into the show. So today I have with me my good friend, Jared Westover. And so what we're going to be talking about today is embodying the I am presence, what exactly that means, why you should do it, and what that means for the planet when we all do this. So welcome. Thank you so much for
Thank
being here
you.
today, Jared. So first of all, if people want to get a hold of you, because I'm sure that they will after they hear you talk here, how do they get a hold of you? What's your website?
My website is quantumenergeticembodiment.com.
Quantum Energetic Embodiment. Okay, you guys can go and check him out over there. So, first question. First of all, when I first met Jared, I was like, man, this dude really gets it. He's really doing the thing. He's really, truly embodying what it is that he's speaking. And I'm sure that you guys have experienced this before that, you could read a book, you can learn all this knowledge, you can tell people about it, but unless you're actually practicing it and unless you're actually fully embodying it, the weight and the words that you're saying, the weight of the words that you're saying don't really land on people in the way that they are meant to and the way that they could when you're actually embodying those things that you're telling people to do. So thank you so much for joining me here today. So my first question for you, Jared, is how did you know about this whole I am embodiment? Like, how did this come through to you? What does it mean to you?
Oh goodness. Yeah, what a journey, right?
Mhm.
I guess I'll go from kind of where it really landed in me. And of course it's been a journey, as we all have these wonderful journeys through life. This oh yeah, it's fun. Uh so each one, like about 3 years ago, I woke up and I yelled wake up out of my sleep, and I felt like I was me, but I was completely new, almost like I called it a walk-in. Just a higher level of consciousness walked into me when I wasn't listening, and it was time for me to start listening. And as I did that, like the awareness, there's a lot of things that I have done throughout my life in different areas than spirituality. Being raised Mormon, recovering Mormon, and all the things. It's a lot of deprogramming I had to do. And when I woke up that morning, there were tools that I had, awareness tools. And the first thing I started doing was being hyper aware of my life, my choices, what I was experiencing, what I was creating, um, being hyper aware, taking radical responsibility, and being brutally honest with myself from a place of loving grace. Knowing that for me, through my experiences in life, it's almost like a sixth love language. I think it's probably one of the most potent and powerful ones that we can actually practice for each other, and that is holding that space of grace first for ourselves and for others, where none of us are perfect. Oh my goodness! No matter how hard we try, we're not perfect in the eyes of ourselves or in the eyes from the eyes of others. So there's some people we just can't show up for perfectly, no matter how hard we try. And I started recognizing these little patterns that started showing up. And then as I gave heedance, I don't know if that's a word, but it comes through as one. So
It is now.
it is now, when I started to really take responsibility for and recognize what the life is that I have created through my words, through what I've watched, through what I've listened to. And as I started to go into stillness in my life, where I cut out music, I stopped listening to the news like 30 years ago. I was really young when I did that. But all the excess noise that my body was having to decipher what's right, what's wrong, what's good for me, what's not. And so as I, did that, I started to have almost like this life review of when I came upon a fear. In my life, I've been a fear chaser, and I've recognized that everything I've ever wanted is right behind something that terrifies me, whether that is you know. Becoming a competitor on national stage for men's physique shows, or whether that's business. And how many doors can I knock, how many doors do I want to knock, how many calls do I want to make, and as I've done all these things, I've recognized that I was expanding my energetic field. How much energy, how much electricity and magnetism can I hold in this frame? Not just my auric field, but also my physical form. And as I've confronted those fears and those shadows of, yeah, this is my doing. I chose this. Straight through and through. No matter how much there's additional manipulation or those things, we always have a choice. And so as I really started taking accountability for how I was showing up and what I was delivering, what the spoken word was that I was commanding to be so in my life, it surely comes to pass. And so there is, with that awareness and these pattern recognitions of what and how I was creating the world that my kingdom, basically. I started to change things very rapidly, and started listening to my body. When I was 19, I was diagnosed with an autoimmune disease and a brain tumor in my pituitary. And I remember I was coming back from Sedona, driving across this bridge, and I saw this wonderful sister that was walking across the bridge, and I had just been told that I would have surgery if I wanted to get to understand what was going on in my brain. Um, Basically, they were going to cut a half moon around the back of my ear, or a moon, and kind of pry into my brain from my mandala, uh, or amygdala, yeah, or my mouth. And so I was having a panic attack. Like, but the panic attack didn't start until I had a negative thought about a woman that was walking her 2-year-old or 1.5-year-old across this bridge in Cottonwood, Arizona. Um, and it was a thought that I never had. Like, I don't think negative thoughts. I don't judge people like on that level. And because I was in a fear place about my own safety, I projected a lot of stuff onto this woman, thinking this is, and you could judge me if you'd like here, okay? I judged myself and I forgave myself for this in that moment. And I thought, this woman is so big she can't even get in the car to walk to the store. And right then I had this lock in my chest and my solar plexus, and I started hyperventilating. And I knew right then, and I might get emotional because this was an emotional experience for me. And this was like 25 years ago. My body rejected that thought instantaneously, because right before that, I was asking my creator, show me, how do I heal this? I am 19 years old. I've got $62,000 in medical debt. I, you know, what what is going on? And show me the way. And right after I had that thought, I recognized in my body that words are so much power, and I'm so grateful for that crippling, that that hyperventilation, where I just lost control. My hands all gripped up. I was holding the car wheel like this, trying to go what, you know, and I ended up pulling over and having my 13-year-old brother drive. We're in a small town, very responsible young men. But that was kind of where it was like, we need to get somewhere. And as I got a hold of that recognition, I started breathing into my Dantian and just really looking at what was going through my mind and how there's a reaction in my body saying that is no longer acceptable.
Mm-hmm.
You will not speak like that because you're speaking to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And so as I was judging myself, judging my body, judging the all of the turmoil that my inner self was going through, which was showing me the blockages in my body, which I didn't quite understand back then as much. But this is like where I began to recognize that my body is the oracle, it's also the veil.
Mm-hmm.
And the more that I focus on and allowing myself to be triggered, have the experiences without judgment, because every experience that I have is showing me where I have a distortion or a blockage of energy inside my body. And so then I look at that and I go, instead of, judging, everybody's a divine teacher. They're all master teachers to me. So whether it's a good experience, a bad experience, a pleasurable or painful one, they're all master teachers. And so I can thank them no matter how much I get triggered, because they're doing exactly what we made agreements to give each other in the pre-existence, so that we would remember who we are. Mm-hmm. Through the most painful channels that would help us recall who we are, our origin, sooner. Because that memory, at least what I'm recognizing through these experiences, each one was an opportunity for self-mastery. Mm-hmm. Whatever came up in my body, whatever came up in my mind. And the more aware I got, and I am, as this journey will never end, I said, I will always be growing in this section of my, this existence. And I'm so grateful for that, because I love a good challenge. I mean, what's your reward without having a challenge? It's just another day. And I believe that's why we came here, was to come here to experience all of the emotions and all of the uh, experiences and all of the senses that we can in the human form, as spiritual beings experiencing a human existence. And I know the more that I am on this journey, we created such an incredible earth, in the pre-existence, and to remember who we are by embodying this, by facing the fears that we have, to love unconditionally, not conditionally. I'll love you if you show up this way so that you create safety for me. No, we all have a unique plan, each and every one of us, and we don't remember the agreements that we made with each other out of unconditional love to experience something from another that would cut us so deeply in this life. Mm-hmm. Opportunities to drop deeper into love and forgiveness, and recognize that Michelle is me. I am Michelle. This intelligence that we're working through online right now, sharing our experience is also, the all. It's all part of the interconnected web of consciousness. And so, we can look at technology as something to be feared, or it can be something that we can command into, basically not out of control or manipulation, but knowing that we are actually co-creating with all things all at once. Mm-hmm. And so how do we want to, show up for that? And the more that I've faced the opportunities to feel what's in my body, to take radical accountability for what it is I'm seeing, thanking the divine teacher that's in front of me, and saying, okay, I'm learning a lot from this experience. I learned in this experience, my throat shuts down. And it gets caught, in those places. Some of us don't have that experience. Me, that was my biggest block, was speaking truth, where it came to the feminine. because I spent my entire life protecting the feminine, but the way that I was protecting him was not the way that a divine masculine would. And the more truthful that I have become in me and who I am and how I'm showing up and taking responsibility for that, that truly has been something that has unlocked more um, noise in my body that's allowed to be dispersed, because I'm not judging, I'm not pushing it down, I'm not shoving that inner little boy, in down in the shadows. I'm saying, hey, come up, show me what you got. What are you holding on to? Um, and just as the masculine within all of us, the feminine within all of us, and the inner child within all of us, it's something that um, you know to trust in all three of them, being held between the father sky and the mother earth, and knowing that we're completely whole as we are. The I am presence is in all of us. It is all of us. We are a unique expression of the creator in different forms of the human form, and the masculine, feminine within. The more that I do my daily practice of inside of myself and outside of myself, is I'll sit there and say, okay, masculine, what's the structure that I need in my life today? What can we do here that needs to be um, taken care of on this earth plane? And then I'll talk to my feminine. And the way that I picture this is sitting with my crown wide open to the creator, the infinite divine creator, masculine creator, and then sitting, being held on the earth by divine mother. And then inside that space, I hold, as I'm sitting in cross-legged position here, I see myself holding this container where on top of my lap, my divine feminine within is sitting on his lap. And I'll ask her, how do I support you today? How can I support you today? How do you want to express your creativity today? Because if I can't communicate with my own feminine to find out how she can feel safe to express and to be seen, and to trust the masculine in the physical form, to express it through my voice or through movement or through constructing something, um, then how in the hell am I going to have a relationship outside of myself where it's a healthy communicative environment where there is trust and safety and unconditional love that can be expressed, internal dialogue or external dialogue. All of these practices allow us to really like embody what we fear. So practicing within ourselves first is that's how we all know this, it's how do we embody, or how do we change the world outside of us? And that's changing the world within us first. And because we are basically human mycelium, the embodiment aspect, whatever keys or codes, this is how I look at it, keys or codes, um, of doors that I've gone through, fear doors that I've gone through. There is a blueprint in my heart that I basically open up, for the innate intelligence of others. And when we're done closing off our hearts and our hearts are open, um, wherever we walk, wherever we talk, the embodiment is the emanation of who we are as the I am presence in which we are currently embodying. And so,
So
yeah.
would you say when you're talking about triggers,
Mhm.
I would say that the biggest thing about triggers is that they're a complete blessing, because they are showing you where you're not in your I am. Because let's say that you're like, somebody says something or something about somebody else is triggering you, like, oh, I don't like how that person is, judging that person, or I don't like how that person is, doing this, and it really triggers you or it bothers you, or you see something. We always think it's about that person, like, oh, well, because they're doing this. But it's not, right? When the things don't bother us anymore, when there's no reaction, when there's just looking and it's like, oh, that person is judging, they must, be going through this or that, and we're not actually judging them, then we know we've healed that part inside of us. We've embodied something. But when we're seeing a trigger and it's being presented to us, and the feeling that it gives us, is like, ooh, I don't like this. Well, as soon as we tighten up and as soon as we have tension in our body, we're now pushing away. all the divine blessings and all the wonderful things that want to flow to us, but we're actually pushing away ourself. We're pushing away our gift and something about us that we need to embody. So if you think about triggers, most people don't like them, right? They try to avoid them rather than lean in. Like, so, okay, this is bothering me. So I'll give you an example here. We were at a retreat and somebody was really triggered about something that somebody else was doing. This was bothering them. Why was it bothering them? It was bothering them because they have a gift and they could see that person's inner child suffering. And that was what was bothering them. And it's like, okay, so what's the actual trigger here is that you have a gift and you're not using it. And you're not telling that person what it is that you're seeing. And this is why it's bothering you so much. And it was like, as soon as they realized, like, what? I'm not embodying this gift that I have. And so who suffers from that? The person and everybody else who comes into proximity with them who could have been blessed by their gift, but they weren't because they didn't take it in. So I know, for yourself, we've had this conversation before about triggers and like not being reactive. And some people, expect you to be reactive. And when you're not, they don't like it. What would you say about that when you're truly in the I am?
You know, um, oh, this is such a beautiful topic. This part, I love this because it's something I'm currently being able to move through, and we go through layers, right? It's like different dimensional spaces within our internal makeup, and so there's the surface aspect that like the blatant in our faces kind of things, and then it gets into more and more in depth, like finite layers, that the body intelligence, the quantum processor, the brain, the quantum interface of the body. This is how I see energy, and. Uh, and so in this space of like communicating on that, I might have you redefine the question.
Okay.
Because I can get caught in the weeds. There's like lots of wonderful things we can go down here.
Okay, about not being reactive. Just tell me about not being reactive when somebody's coming at you. And the reason why you're not is because you're truly in your I am.
Yeah.
So just tell me about that.
Okay. So in that space, let's just say that there's somebody's projecting a lot of stuff onto you right now, right? And how do we know when we've moved through that cycle, when those projections and all those words that are being spewed out into or towards you, all those spell casting, right? All the spells are coming right at you, and we've all been there, and we've all participated in being the one that's projecting too. And so as it's coming at us, if the body is still, there's no reaction in the body, where it gets caught in the solar plexus or the heart or the high heart, or wherever it gets stuck in the body, there is nothing that it sticks to. It's because that particular trauma or that trigger or that memory has been released, so it's no longer in your body, so it's not sticky. If you look at your blood, the arteries, like our channel, our chalice, root to crown, is basically just that. And the more that there is debris that's in there, and when we speak it, or somebody's speaking at us or throwing words at us, if it does not land and stick in the body where there's a reactory, like a reaction in the body, then this has been cleared in your body, which allows for a more energy, more raw primal energy that was trauma stored in the trauma files of your DNA, right? This is again how I relate to different things. If that has been cleared, then we have opened up space to allow a higher level of consciousness in our minds and in our bodies to drop into the cellular structure, into the and in that, when there's if you look at a single atom or like a computer chip, right? You have all this data, gigabytes, terabytes, however you want to look at it. And when we clear that information out, it becomes available. Space becomes available for new intelligence, right? So if a single atom in our body holds over 100 trillion terabytes of information, okay, this is where I like to get into this stuff. We're not just holding on to our own personal experience or our other timelines, if you believe that, or past lives, but we're also holding on to our generational, that's in our in that's in the akashics, in our DNA. Like it's all there. The collective, every lifetime ever lived on this planet is actually stored in our DNA, in our atomic structure. So we're at a place right now where the data banks are on overload, right? And we've been doing the work like crazy. Those that started to awaken years and years ago, 30, 40, 50, 60 years ago, they did incredible work. Now it's speeding up, the quickening is happening faster, and so we get to clear this out faster, but with more people. Many hands make light work. You know, and so in that space we get to clear that out, and as we do, we basically allow more energy, because every strand of DNA is actually a battery pack. Every cell of the body is a battery pack. And so when we balance the masculine and feminine, the arc, okay, this is the arc of covenant, which is in all of us. And as we clear this stuff out, and as we balance the masculine electric and the feminine magnetic, it creates an arc within the body. It completes the arc, which allows for a greater expansion of the I am presence to drop in, because you're now even more whole in the body. There's not blockages. The feminine is not suppressed. The masculine is not overbearing. You know, there's a perfect give and take. Trust and allowance. Through trust and allowance, there's safety and abundance. This is something that, as I have sat into my body, where I've spent 40 years being out of body through my life experiences, and really focused on coming into and really listening to the oracle of my body, and asking, what do I need to know right now? Or I am ready for the next experience to help me clear out what I still have yet to clear out. And so we can call in experiences when the more conscious of a creator that we are, the more conscious we are, we're more creative with how we move through challenges and how we look at every challenge. So if there's something that we have experienced, and this opportunity rises again, and we get to experience again, we get to choose that. Our innate intelligence, our higher selves, will say, there's something more here. I want to confirm that this is past. I want to know. And so, yes, I'm going to put myself in that position again so that I can clarify how clear of a channel I truly am. Right. And so when we have that opportunity, then we go ahead and do it. Right. When I used to do fitness training and stuff, I would tell my clients, you know, they would say, Jared, I'm so sorry, I fell off the wagon. And I go, damn it, boy. I go, don't come here and tell me that you're a victim. Like, like this is a relationship between your body and you. Like,
You chose it.
you chose it. So, like, if you're gonna choose that, choose that. Choose it all the way. No regrets. Do it because your senses want to experience it. Do it because your heart says yes. Do it because your gut says, oh crap, not again. And it's like, oh hell yeah, let's do this. Let's get through this one more time and just see how far we've come, because we don't know how to gauge ourselves in a situation unless we put ourselves in that position to gauge, to see where we're at, you know? And so there's a lot of different perspectives. You can look at it from that angle. For me, this is how I look at all things, so that everything is to my advantage because I'm choosing it moment to moment. And that is a conscious creator. And so that the more that we do, and the more that we accept, and the more that we take responsibility, the more we reclaim from places that we gave our power away without having a choice, being the victim. So it's a simple shift in choosing what you want to experience, and then saying, I'm so grateful that I chose this.
Thank you so much for being in the show here today, Jared. This is Jared Westover. I'm Michelle Sinclair. If you want to hear more from me, there is the Real Healing Institute podcast that I have on YouTube. This is something that there is on daily. And if you want to get a hold of Jared, there will be information down below. Energetic quantum
Energetic embodiment. I know it's a mouthful.
Thank you so much for
Yeah.
being here today. Thank you guys, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.
Have a beautiful day.
Thank you for joining the Real Healing Institute show with me, Michelle Sinclair. Tune in every second and fourth Wednesday at 9:30 a.m. Pacific on transformationtalkradio.com for more empowering ways to spread love and set yourself free. Together, we'll elevate the consciousness of the planet. Stay connected. Follow me on social media, subscribe to the podcast, and explore the Mental Cleanse series on YouTube. Ready to go deeper? Book a session with Michelle at therealhealinginstitute.com. Until next time, keep healing, keep growing, and remember, love is the only way.